chance to hear it, so let her tell it. People on the streets say Sabrina speaks. Tune into the show, she will let you know. Tell all your friends and family. Real talk is no joke. You get the news straight up from grassroots and concerns. You can hear with some people gone. So tell all your friends to tune in to
Good evening, Cayman. I'm Sabrina Turner, and welcome to Sabrina Speaks, your daily dose of clarity, truth, and community insights. Every weekday from 5 to 6:30 p.m., we're tackling the issues that affect you, from national headlines to grassroots concerns. Whether you're in traffic or winding down your day, this is your chance to hear it straight and speak your truth. So buckle up, Cayman. We're not holding back.
This is the show. We gotta let you know. Now we got to go.
And now here's Sabrina.
Hello. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Sabrina Speaks. Yes, our tagline says it all. We're voices of the islands, conversations for the world, and definitely we're the podcast where voices rise, stories unfold, and inspiration takes center stage. And guess what? We're also elevating voices, unpacking ideas, and connecting with our community to the conversations that matter most. Happy Monday, everybody. You know, I always like to start off with a nice little image, hoping it'll brighten up your day. Yes, happy Monday. It is a pleasure to be here with you, and I thought that was so sweet. I come across that today. Yeah, Jim. I think Jim figured out that I do have a really mushy side, because what he said, Sandra's the pineapple and I'm the peach. Jim figured it out. But I hope that everybody had a good weekend. At least hopefully you got some rest. To all of the persons out there who work in frontline, work those shifts in our hospitality industry, but more so those in their uniform services, I got a soft space for you. I got a soft place in my heart for you all. Thank you for your service. It doesn't stop Monday to Friday for all of us other people. But for you guys, there's some just about rolling out of bed, getting ready now to go to work, just to keep us safe. And I want to honestly, from the bottom of my heart, wish you a happy Monday. And to thank you for your service. Let's see. I'm missing Connie. Jim, but you're first. Definitely. You're going to keep it alive here for her. Yeah. Yep. Sending you a happy Monday greeting. So sweet of you. Hi, Jackie. Welcome. It's always a pleasure to have you here with us. And I'm hoping that everyone had a good weekend. I actually got out of the house for once. I got out of the house for a little bit and I went to an event. But I know on Friday, the conversation came about a domino tournament that is happening here. Michelle, there's Honduras here. And, I'm so proud of a lot of our supporters here on Sabrina Speaks. Yes, it is a domino tournament that's going on here from September 3rd to the 10th. And, I gave you my word that I would give you an update. And I'm so happy that one of our big supporters shared this with me. And this was Honduras. Let me just move this media. Let me move this off the screen for a sec. Yeah. Honduras between these strikers. That was Wednesday evening results for all of you domino lovers. And this was the result from Thursday. So Archie's against Rattan. So it looks as though Honduras is losing between Wednesday and Thursday, but it goes on until the 10th. And that is a picture that was also shared. These guys are visiting us from Honduras, the Bay Islands, and they're here for what they love the most. Yes, playing dominoes. I confuse any board that I'm at. on. I just match. I'm horrible when it comes to dominoes. So don't expect me to be the one around the table that's going crazy. Nope, not me, not for me. I match and I confuse the entire game. But again, that's how it is. For those who love it, kudos to you. And that's it on the front for the domino scene here. And for me, I attended the official kickoff for the gray area. They had their launch party Saturday night, and I had a reason to kind of get, I would say, kind of dolled up. And I'll share one picture with you and why, because more pictures are coming tomorrow. Yes, we're going to be having an update to see where this NPO has gone, what has happened since the last time we showcased Oscar DaCosta here in his fight with brain cancer, and how fitting he had it. That was the official launch last night, not last night, Saturday night. And they're going to give us an update of that on tomorrow's show. So yeah, tell your friends. I've given you an early sneak peek at what's about to come tomorrow. That's myself. And we got 2 cancer survivors there, Shadden and Irma, along with Oscar. And, we can just keep them in our prayers, but I will not share too much with that because I want them to tell us about it themselves in tomorrow's episode. So you got a sneak peek as to what's in store for tomorrow. And I'm excited to showcase them again right here on this platform for you. We got an early caller, and I have an idea what that early caller is going to talk about. Yes. So good evening, caller. You're live.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening. Happy Monday to you.
Hi, happy Monday.
See what I was saying? I was telling you when I told you about the tournament, but when them got, but I want to stop by, and it looked like it's 11 or 12 of them. But anyway, when they were bragging about we going to beat Cayman, I say, I better be careful because we got some wizards up here.
Yeah,
so
they're
so good. Mouth will catch them. It'll be, everybody want to be a winner.
Yes.
But they got to be a loser.
Yep.
And then they were beaten them by 150 by 146. And then 0-5 played in Honduras Sunday, and that was the Thief, and everybody should have win on that because they say Andrew stole the election and Thief play 5. So get out.
Caller, that's not legal here, but yeah, good. Leave it to you. But thank you for keeping us informed.
Yes, ma'am. Well, that's my little piece.
Okay. You know what? It is unique right here. It's only on Sabrina Speaks. You can't say we do keep it real. And look, in real time, again, more updates on the domino tournament. They lost every match. Good evening, Monica. Thank you so much for keeping us up to date. I appreciate all the feedback, and it shows the excitement in the air. But yeah, I gotta call it. Miss Shelma did call it. She told them, know what you're doing. And but I love this. Thank you for keeping it real. Thank you for keeping us up to date. And that's what I love about this space. But as you can see, there are great things happening here. And today we are, as I said, tomorrow, just going back for those, tomorrow we're going to be showcasing and hearing more about the gray area, and hear from my dear friend and Oscar DaCosta and his wife, Melissa, about we got an update from the last show, and that was me there trying to look prettier or pretty, and just going out having fun, enjoying life. To be honest, life is too short. But today we're diving into a milestone moment right here in our islands, and if you didn't hear about it, I'm going to tell you now. From the 24th to the 26th of this month, the University College of the Cayman Islands will host, you're going to hear this acronym a lot in the next couple of days, and it's called CASA. That's Caribbean Sociological Association. They're going to be hosting their annual conference right here in Grand Cayman as a part of UCCI's, guess what? Golden Jubilee celebrations. Can you imagine? UCCI is celebrating this year their Golden Jubilee. Now, that's 50 years, guys, of academic excellence and community leadership. And this event is a powerful reflection, definitely, of their legacy. So, this is the Caribbean's premier professional body of sociologists. I know I screwed that up, but you get me. They will be explaining it themselves because I'm no scientist. But social scientists, they're bringing together leading thinkers, researchers, and policymakers to explore. And this year's theme is mobilizing Caribbean sociologies and bridging the theory, method, and fields of sociological and sustainable Caribbean development. Now, if that isn't a mouthful, and that's why I love the fact that, Dr. Patricia Robinson, who's the registrar at UCCI, and Dr. Roy McCrae, Dean of Sports at UWI St. Augustine, they're going to be joining me this evening to tell us more about this. And they have done studies independently, and we will also be hearing more about everything. So guess what? Whether you're a student or an educator, policymaker, or just a curious citizen and a lover of this space, this episode is for you, as is all episodes. But, before we get into hearing more from our guests about this upcoming event, I want to just caution you that the content you're about to hear, including any discussions or opinions from myself, guests, and or participants, is intended solely for general information and entertainment purposes. It's not a substitute for professional, legal, medical, or financial advice. So I encourage you to consult with a qualified professional for specific concerns. And Sabrina Speaks disclaims all liability for any decisions or actions taken in reliance of the information presented here. And don't forget to please follow, like, share, and subscribe so you miss an episode, because we're on all CMR Facebook, YouTube, Instagram platforms. And you can also follow me directly on my Facebook page. That's you looking for Facebook, Sabrina Turner, and it's community activist. And also my YouTube channel is the @sign, that @sign, Sabrina Speaks, and the number 12. Yeah, so let's see who's here. Whoops, just to get that down, showcasing myself here. Hi, Jackie, and Denisha. Hi, thank you so much for the kind compliment. Damian Henry, welcome. Good evening to you too. Now let's see if our guests are here. Dr. Patricia Robertson, I know we may be just a little early, but why not? I'm so excited to hear more about this before I eat tongue here. There we go. Let's go. Yes, that's one, and that's two. There we go. So we're ready to roll. Let's bring and welcome to the platform here. Let's bring, hey, good evening. Oops, there we go. I'm playing with all of these things here, so please bear with me. Good evening and welcome to Sabrina Speaks. Are you hearing me okay?
Yes, good evening.
It's a pleasure to have you with
I
us.
hear.
Yes, I'm
Thank
hearing you.
you.
Loud. Yep, it's a pleasure to have you
Loud
here.
and clear.
Excellent. Loud and clear. Bell
Loud
South
and
couldn't
clear
beat you.
indeed. Good evening.
Bell South couldn't beat two of you.
Good evening.
It is a pleasure to have you both of you with us. And just before we go into the crooks and crannies to understand what is CASA, it's amazing having heard about you being featured here and what's upcoming with this conference. Doing a little research myself, it was quick for me to actually wrap my head around it. I'm just so happy that you guys are able to spread the word here so that we can promote this event, because I think this is huge for us here. And for people who are not in the space, it may be hard for them to wrap their head around it. So I'm just so happy that you are actually here with us this evening. And Dr. Patricia Robinson, you're a registrar at UCCI.
Yes.
You're an educator and a researcher. You did a researcher focused on equity and belonging in higher education and organizational life.
Yes.
You also hold a Bachelor of Arts in Organizational Communication and a Master of Arts in Ministerial Leadership and a PhD in Curriculum and Instructions, Higher Education Administration. Your conceptual paper for CASA 2025, I'm understanding, which we'll get more into this, explores workplace bullying, power, and culture dynamics. So I'm really, really excited to hear more about this. And I'm hoping that the audience will actually appreciate what you're bringing to the table. Now, Dr. McCrae, you're a senior fellow at Sir Arthur Lewis Institute of Social and Economic Studies. And it is a pleasure. You'll be bringing it from the sports side, huh?
Yes,
It's amazing how that will tie into this. That was also surprising for me too. But together, I'm hoping that this show this evening will unpack about the conference, what it means for us here in the Cayman Islands, to our youth, and even for the future Caribbean development. So welcome. It is a pleasure to have you both here.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure to be here and to share sociology and its concerns with you, with the Cayman Islands, and look forward.
Yeah, sure. Now, this is quite open. We're all about information sharing, making sure that we can educate and create awareness of what's happening around us here in the Cayman Islands. So by any means, at any point during this conversation, both of you can feed off of each other. You can weigh in. It's discussion. I want to make sure that you're comfortable, and more so that we will at times get participation from the wider public should questions come about or persons need more information. The number to call is 936-8255. Should our listeners or our viewers even want to comment via our social media platform channels. So you will see me from time, maybe just breaking to take questions so that we can maximize and making sure we get the information out there. But just go into it. Let's go into some background, right? You guys are educators, so you know the importance of laying a good foundation. What is CASA? What is this? What is this professional body?
Okay. Do you want to go ahead and go first? Or you want me to go ahead and jump in? I don't.
Ladies first.
No worries. Such the polite gentleman.
They still exist.
CASA. CASA
Yes.
stands for Caribbean Sociological Association, and it's a body of sociologists who come together annually to try to expand the knowledge to interpreting, understanding, and resolving development problems in the Caribbean, to improve quality of life through research, teaching, and policy intervention and advocacy. We understand sociology, how people live and mix with their environment. We want to make sure that people understand the research behind what sociologists do. And that's what this conference is really going to bring out, a diversity of research that spans, you heard sports coming into this, right? So it spans a wide gamut of things, of topics.
You want to weigh in, Doc?
Yes, so sociology as a discipline historically has dealt with certain critical, what we call primary institutions. So you have the family, you have the education system, you have religion, it looks at the community, and sport is one of those important primary institutions as well. Sport is not just an activity, it's a particular social institution that has become an important mechanism by which we socialize individuals about a lot of things that include gender roles. For instance, women are not supposed to play certain sports. Men are supposed to play certain sports. Men are supposed to be strong. Women are supposed to be like Barbie dolls. So all these type of gendered ideas and values, sport has historically been seen as a male preserve and as a mechanism for transmitting particular norms, but sport has also been a mechanism for changing certain ideas and values in relation to women, in relation to particular racial groups and what have you. So sociology is about particular social institutions that constitute the bedrock of society and the development of the individual. And CASA was conceived as a vehicle by which we can educate the Caribbean, the diaspora, about the importance of sociology as a discipline in bringing about social change in how we think about the elderly, about women, about the disabled, about rural parts of our islands. And so CASA is seen as an important educational instrument and as an important mechanism of change in the Caribbean context that we are in, and in the broad sense of the Caribbean, English, French, Spanish, Dutch, what have you. So as a founding member of CASA and serving twice as president, this is what I signed up to. This is what we signed up to.
So this is special for you to be able to host this here as a founding member. Oh my gosh.
Yes, and it's our fifth year.
Yeah.
It's our fifth year.
How you've evolved from 5 years back to where we are today now, actually having it hosted here in the Cayman Islands. How does that make you feel?
Well, that feels great because when CASA was being conceived and formed, we were clear that we wanted it to be Caribbean wide, not just across the different linguistic divides, but
Right.
even within the Anglophone Caribbean. We tend to see the Caribbean as Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, Guyana.
Yes.
And as president, I went out of my way to try to get the broad Caribbean involved. So this is how I ended up finding, or we ended up discovering, Professor Livingston. Okay, we had a general meeting, and Professor Livingston, he turned up at the meeting, and the rest is history. He
Okay.
played a significant role in organizing 2 conferences under my tenure, and he's a committed Caribbeanist, committed to sociology. So and this is our second face-to-face conference.
Okay.
CASA was born in COVID-19. It was
Oh,
it was
wow.
established at the time of COVID-19, and we had 3 of our first conferences online.
Okay.
So this is the second face-to-face. It's in the Cayman Islands, and that is something to shout about. It's
course.
not limited to Jamaica, Trinidad, or Barbados. We wanted a wider Caribbean, and the Caribbean, in all its beauty and brilliance. So it feels good, that Cayman is hosting, and that we have someone from the island who is president.
Yes.
It's part of what we are trying to do to create a broad sense of Caribbean. We have the isolationist tendencies, and we want to broaden the conception of the Caribbean as it is lived, as it is seen. So hosting it in the Cayman is really consistent with with the goals of CASA.
Right. Good. So there'll be a delegation of people coming over for this event? You were expecting persons from in the region?
Oh yes. Jamaica for sure, Guyana for sure. There are persons in the diaspora as well. We hope to attract to be part of this celebration of sociology and also Cayman Island culture and society.
Yeah, we have persons coming from Toronto as well, and even from California. Our keynote speaker will be coming from Toronto to deliver that keynote speech. So it's a wide area that we are covering, that be coming down to embark upon our beautiful Cayman Islands.
Okay.
So it's the Caribbean diaspora.
Right. Yeah, because we're all over the place.
Exactly.
So, really and truly then, what does hosting CASA 2025 truly mean for UCCI and the Cayman Islands as a whole? What does it truly mean? Because like I said, you said it's 5 years old. It started off in 2019. Here we are in 2025. And this may be actually the first time persons may actually be sitting down to really process exactly what this conference is. But then what does it mean for UCCI and the Cayman Islands as a jurisdiction?
Well, UCCI, as we're celebrating our 50th anniversary this year, this conference came at a prime time for us. It's helping to put us on the map, so to speak, right? We want to make sure that people understand the research and the excellence, the academic excellence, and the community leadership that we have here in the Cayman Islands. We don't want people to just limit us as a little island, but we have great people here that have wonderful research they have done. We want to expose that to people. We want to make sure that people understand that we are here as researchers to help do what we can to better the living, policies, different things that my colleague has mentioned as well, so that we can really understand how important it is that we as a society look beyond just what we see every day, and we tackle the tough questions, we tackle the tough issues, and find ways to give resolve to that. And so this for the Cayman Islands is huge. You know, where the spotlight will be on UCCI and on the Cayman Islands to deliver that type of experience for all who are coming, whether it's researchers and those who are coming as audience members to hear and to provoke us as researchers, you know, to ask those questions that we made a good research topic to look into. So definitely it's wide open for all of us.
So what opportunity? Go ahead, Doc.
Damian, sorry, I just want to jump on that to thank Professor Smith for his leadership.
Yes.
Because, you know, as academics, we have other roles, administrative roles, teaching roles, supervisory roles, and really to do this is really, you know, an expression of his commitment as a scholar and academic to not just CASA, but to the Caribbean as a whole. And I want to thank publicly Professor Smith for his contribution in leading CASA forward.
What opportunities then does this conference offer to students and the wider community? What does it really offer?
So as students, they get to attend for free because as a university, we do stress education, and we want to make sure that they are exposed to the cutting edge research and to the policy discussions. So we want to make sure that they have those discussions that directly impact the Caribbean development. And so with our students, let me just make sure I get it correct here. They are able to attend for free for the conference. I believe high schools and some of the primary schools as well may have been invited to attend this conference, but they are there. And then the community, as I mentioned earlier, sparking us and provoking us as a university and as researchers to be able to look at those tough questions, look at those tough areas that people think are taboo, and be able to have dialogue around that, along all the other topics that will be discussed at the conference: gender issues, decolonization, masculinities, and cultural resistance. It's important that we have discussions about those because they all impact our way of life. And so as young people, as adults in the community, this is a great opportunity to get involved in that conversation and see where it takes us.
Okay, good.
And if I may add, one of CASA's main goals is mentorship, mentoring young students at the undergraduate level, graduate level of university, even at the high school level, to mentor them, to direct them to possible career opportunities through sociology, and to give them that kind of guidance so that they could make the appropriate choices in trying to forge a particular career path. So the conference allows us that opportunity to interact with students. It allows students to see sociologists probably they have read about, they have heard about, and interact with them at that real level so that it could help to motivate them, to inspire them, perhaps to do follow the same path, perhaps to do something different. But this is what CASA is about, mentorship. And the conference gives us that opportunity to mentor young Caribbean men and women educationally.
And if I
Sure,
just
go ahead.
add real quick, there's no misunderstanding. The high schools and tertiary level students are free of charge for the conference. For the community, the registration fee is $50, and that does include lunch for 3 days. The night of the opening keynote, that is free to the entire public. Anybody who wants to come and hear our keynote speaker.
Excellent. And we will definitely I'm going to go to you, Dr. McRae. We will definitely highlight that again on this so that people will actually understand all of these benefits and stuff. But let's go straight to you into sports development not only in its topic, but regionally in the Caribbean. You said at the beginning, and for those who may be joining us, because we get people joining this podcast at various stages. Over the past 2 decades, sports in itself have become increasingly global. It's been commercialized and professional. However, there are actually 2 distinct aspects of sports that scholars like yourself studies. Can you tell us more about this research and its findings?
Okay, so there are two basic dimensions of sport. You have sport development and sport for development. Sport development deals with winning, deals with winning medals, scoring goals. It deals with athlete production, okay, and medal production, winning at the Olympic Games. It deals with facilities. It deals with media coverage and broadcast rights. This is what sport development examines. It deals with the things you just mentioned: professionalization of sport, commercialization of sport, and we can add scientization, which refers to the impact of science and technology on sport, which has happened more and more over the last 25 years. Sport for development has to do with using sport to deal with a range of issues. Particularly in focus now is the issue of non-communicable diseases, the issue of obesity, and using sport to develop and promote healthy lifestyles. Sport for development deals with using sport to help remove particular forms of inequality, like gender inequality. It has to do with using sport to help reduce violence and conflict in society. And sport for development has become so important that sport is now part of the achieving the sustainable development goals. So at the level of the United Nations, the Commonwealth, sport has become an integral component. It has become an integral strategy to achieve certain social policy objectives, okay, relating to violence, related to conflict, related to education, related to gender equality. That is what sport for development deals with. And a lot of research is happening over the last 25 years in relation to sport for development,
Right.
as well as sport development. So we see a flourishing of literature. As a sociologist of sport, a lot of my research has sort of focused more on sport development, but they crisscross each other. So I have looked at issues of nationalism and national identity in sport. I have looked at issues of gender and gender inequality in sport. And there's the issue of our national heroes. How many of our national heroes in sport are women? Or is nationalism merely constructed as something that is male or masculine? Is sport then a patriarchal institution to reinforce male dominance? So that is an important issue in examining sport, either for development or sport development. So I have also looked at the issue of media and how the media broadcast sports, issues of sexism, in the media. There are issues of colorism or racism in media coverage of sports. So I have also looked at some of these issues as well.
Okay.
So the research that is coming out now globally is looking at both sport development issues and sport for development issues, which all come to reflect the important role sport can play in bringing about social change, across the world.
Now, either of you can answer this. How does this year's theme, Mobilizing Caribbean Sociologies, reflect the region's current challenges and aspirations? Because we do have a lot of things that is happening. And looking at this year's themes, how do you feel that it's reflecting the current challenges that we're seeing and desires as an aspiration?
Well,
was that theme strategic?
Yeah. Well, I would say it is, and in my own opinion of it, what struck me and what I enjoyed about the theme of this conference was just the first word itself, when it says mobilizing, right?
Get it moving.
There's so many things that are done and kept on the shelf. Nothing is activated. No one has taken action on certain things. And I think we're at the point now where it's time to stop talking, stop just, keeping things on the shelf, and actually acting and enacting some things that really move towards change, that really causes us to be mobilized as a society, as a diaspora, so that we're not just taking things that's coming at us, but we're actually actively responding, actively doing things to make a change in the lives of the people in the diaspora, and the mindset, changing mindsets. All of those things are part of this conference theme. So I think that speaks volumes, that the theme is talking about mobilizing Caribbean sociologies.
So if I may add, so you have many sociologies. So you have sociology of the family, sociology of education, you have sociology of entrepreneurship, you have sociology of the environment, and of course, you have industrial sociology, and you have the sociology of sport. So this conference, as with past conferences, it tries to provide a space for all these different sociologies and sociologists to express themselves, to speak to the issues in education, to speak to the issues in the environment, to speak to the issues in the workplace, and of course, to speak to the issues in sport, which deals with the issue of the sociology of sport. So when I saw the team, I said, this is excellent, because it gives a space for the sociology of sport, which we must know historically has never figured prominently in the development of sociology in the Caribbean. What was prominent were the issues of religion, education, and health, and family, again. So these were the prominent sociologies. So now we have had an explosion of sociology insofar as it is looking at other issues. Artificial intelligence is one.
Huge.
Of course, the environment is another critical one. And gender, the sociology of gender, and looks at how gender has shaped our identities, as men and women, heterosexuals, and that sort of those sort of issues. So the conference is, when we talk of mobilizing sociologies, it brings all of this together in one melting pot as they deal with the many-sided dimensions of our Caribbean realities and experiences and challenges.
Right. Now, Dr. Robertson, you're one of the speakers at Robinson. You're one of the speakers as well. Tell us what's in store.
I am okay. So yes, I've already, as you mentioned in the opening, I've earned my 3 degrees already, but I've also gone back to school at UCCI to pursue another master's degree. And so in doing that, part of the final project is to write a paper. And so I'm in that process. So I'm doing a conceptual paper as part of my coursework, and I'm studying workplace bullying, the power dynamics of it, and how it influences bullying. And so my research always seems to center around sense of belonging, that need for persons to feel valued, accepted, and secure as a connected people. And so I decided to do my project, my research on the power dynamics within the Cayman Islands workforce, the Cayman Islands organizations, both public and private. The research has not been conducted yet. I'm doing the literature review right now, but the research, and I'm putting it out there to the public because it will be a public survey that's coming out. So if you can, once you read the requirements, once IRB has approved it, if you fit the characteristics required for the research, by all means, I would love to hear your feedback. It's a quality study. But when you think about workplace bullying, and thankfully the Cayman Islands has put out 2 new laws recently that speak to just that, the anti-bullying law and also
legislation,
sexual harassment. So those will all be part of my research as well. But being in such a small community and a tight-knit community as the Cayman Islands, unfortunately, a lot of times bullying or harassment goes unreported. And so there's not much research in the Caribbean that speaks to that. And so I want to bring that to the forefront so people understand that there are other ways to deal with things in the workplace. It doesn't have to include bullying. And so I want the voices to be heard of individuals that may have experience, and then how I can also show human resource professionals or leadership of different organizations how they can maintain a bully-free environment in their organizations as well.
Okay, very interesting. And for those of you, again, who may just be joining us, we have our guest here from UCCI. They are celebrating their 50th Jubilee, and they're hosting the conference, the CASA Conference 2025, right here on our doorstep. That is Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, September 24th to the 26th. And it's going to, the key, that would be the opening night, is free. And for general public registration, should you want to go and hear some of the dynamic speakers and keynote speakers, I'll allow my guests to actually do a run through of that. You can attend for $50, and a total of $50, which also includes lunch for all 3 days. Now that's a steal. And guess what, students? If you're in tune and you want to hear more, because I'm liking some of these topics that I'm hearing here, and I'm going to be honest with you, guests, I've been hearing a lot more about AI and all of this sort of stuff. And, you know, Dr. McRae, I know you're more from the sports side of things and just looking at that from another advantage, but we can see where AI is going to be impacting all facets of life. I don't care how big or how small it is, it's here to stay. And for all the students out there who may be looking at coding, or people who may just not understanding it, one of the key things is not to be scared. And I was one of those. But the key thing about this is that students, it's free admission for Cayman senior, high school, and tertiary students. And there are also networking opportunities as well, because I think there's going to be a conference reception and networking opportunities. Tell us more about that, please.
There should be. I don't have the full schedule layout in front of me, but yes, all of our conferences, usually Caymanians, Caribbeans, we love to eat, we love to socialize and network. So yes, there's going to be opportunities for that as well. So let me see what it says here. The conference begins at 12:30 p.m. on Wednesday, August 24th, and 8:30 on both days. So yes, those are the conference dates. The keynote is on the 24th. So yes, I am certain, I don't have the full schedule as I mentioned, but I am certain there will be some networking. When you go to register on our website, for those who are interested, I'm sure there it would have the layout perhaps of the full itinerary for the conference.
Yeah. Now, pretty much, what is the biggest takeaway that the two of you waiting for this moment? And I know Dr. McRae, as a founding member, what is the biggest takeaway that you're looking forward to from this event? What are you hoping that persons who register, persons who attend, will actually have a lasting effect? What is the biggest takeaway you're hoping people will leave with?
That we see the value and importance of sociology as a discipline in trying to define some of the historical problems that have confronted Caribbean society, you know, at all levels, issues of inequality, gender inequality, inequality as it relates to wages, to salaries, inequality even in sport, and the lack of coverage of female sports, the lack of funding of female sports. And we hope that the conference serves to further sensitize and conscientize the public about the value of sociology as a discipline, to help us understand who we are, to help us define or redefine who we are as a Caribbean region, to come out of isolationism, which has become rampant now historically. Certain countries are discouraging migration or even visiting their own country. All right, so the takeaway is really to see the importance of this discipline as part of the broader Caribbean idea and Caribbean civilization, and that they could promote the organization and perhaps become members, perhaps become members and help develop it and broaden it as an entity in Caribbean life. We don't just want it to be a, scholars meet and they talk, but we want people to see how it connects to their, what we say, their lived realities on the ground.
Right.
Exactly. And if I can add to that, I think my big takeaway that I would like people to leave with is that they hear something that challenges them, that takes them beyond just being a seater or a watcher or a listener, but they take something that they hear and they can actually apply what they hear. I'm a proponent that every conference I go to, or I encourage my team to go to, that they take something back from that they can implement in their organization or in their lives. And so I think it's important that Dr. Roy talked about the sensitization and being sensitized in what they hear, but also being ready and able to apply that. And I'm thankful, as you mentioned, the networking will be there for them to find individuals, like-minded individuals who can perhaps help them to activate or to apply some different things they may hear throughout this conference.
Okay. Now, in regards to, we've gone about the takeaways, but what about the findings that come about all of these conferences? In a previous podcast, we're having conversations here on this platform, and great ideas are coming up, recommendations for the powers that be. Where does it stop after the conference with what findings that may come out of these conferences? How do you actually make it go up to materialize and bear fruit? What happens post-conference?
Well, a conference is part of a research and publication pipeline. It's part of a public policy pipeline. A conference enables you to share findings surrounding particular issues in society. As I've said before, be it family, education, health, gender. The conference involves researchers coming together to share what they have found. They may have found a continuation of old problems. They may find old problems reflecting themselves anew. So as a community, researchers and scholars use the conference to interact with each other, okay, to share data. But research, it's a political process. It's a part of a political process. And a lot of times, politicians and decision makers, they have problems dealing with findings in relation to sexism or racism or ableism. It may not fit their particular political or policy agenda. So a lot of the times we are in a situation where we are trying to grapple with a particular issue. Could be gender inequality. It could be the issue of sexuality, but the church doesn't want to hear that. The government doesn't want to hear about, sexuality issues or teaching issues, teaching about the human body in schools. They don't want to hear about it. So your work then is not utilized. It's not utilized as it should to bring about social development, to bring about changes in people's lives. So this is something that we live with as researchers, because, we cannot be expected to do the research and implement the findings as well.
Exactly.
And it's a fundamental function of the university to define problems and to suggest ways to resolve these problems. But the critical institution, which we also study in sociology, the state or the government, has the important responsibility to implement some of the things we suggest.
Exactly.
And that is where we get stuck.
Yeah. If I could jump in here, I think a lot of times people walk around with blinders on, not wanting to realize or accept their reality, right? That may come from different research. I'm going to put it out there. I may get some kickback, workplace bullying. Who wants to admit that their organization has workplace bullying, right? So there may be some kickback, some lack of responses here or there, but it's important to tackle that. And then to hope that HR professionals who have to deal with these type of cases in their organizations may be willing and able to take what's presented as research findings to then be able to say, let's move in this line. Organizations right now in the Cayman Islands ought to be finding some way to implement the 2 laws that have been passed. And so if they're not, this opportunity to step up and to do just that, right? And so from the research that I'm proposing, or any research in this conference or that people may come aware of, when you read the findings, when you understand the findings, you're looking for ways you can apply it to your organization, to your life, to your culture, to your population of people. How can you apply that and apply it realistically and practically in the lives of people? And again, as Dr. Roy has says, it is oftentimes political. It is unfortunately that we have to, we're in these countries where politics play a key role in what you can and cannot enforce. And so it becomes important that as organizations, as leaders in an organization, that we are willing to push for what we know is right and what we know should be done. And so that's one thing that can help to enforce or to apply what the findings come out of all of this research.
And we must continue that conversation. We must continue that education process. Although our findings may not find support in certain political circles and may not support certain political interests, we have to continue the struggle to understand and interpret who we are and the problems we confront. We must continue to provide evidence, empirical evidence that could shape social and public policy. That is an ongoing task we have. So whether the state or government decides to ignore our findings or not, a lot of us have signed up to that commitment to do research, to educate, with the hope that we inform change, positive change across the society.
Yes.
Thank you for that, which leads me into this. What if someone who's listening now is not really getting the purpose, understanding the mission and the vision of a conference such as this, because they're probably looking at it as a conference like this for persons who are in college, university, and not realizing that there's much more to get from a conference of this nature?
I would tell that person that, Martin Luther King, he did sociology at Morehouse College. and sociology and its subject matter, its heart, its core, has to do with issues of inequality. Okay? And we all know Martin Luther King. We know his struggles and what he fought against. So sociology deals with real issues that confront us, that confront us all. And it's how we choose to engage those issues that may be different. As sociologists, like social scientists in general, we have to study things systematically or scientifically, have the right methodology, be it quantitative or qualitative, but people in their ordinary lives, they experience things, they see things in particular ways. Okay, they may not have time to do a study about it, but they are living certain realities. And our task is to understand and interpret those realities, sometimes on their own terms. So people hearing about a conference need to get a sense of what we are about and what
Which is why you're here.
About. Yes,
which is why you're here. And I want you to break it down in layman's terms, really, because I don't want to shun people away. They miss an opportunity with the great lineup of other guests that you'll be having joining you. And what great takeaways, because of fear of the unknown, maybe thinking that the conversations would be above their heads. But what you're explaining here, this can be meaningful to anyone. Yep. And I don't want people to think that they don't belong because, one, it's at the UCCI, University College of the Cayman Islands site campus, and feeling, oh, that's not for me. But what topics you're going to be discussing, panels, discussions, we want the public to engage with this conference meaningful. And I think that's the core of being showcased on this platform. We're breaking it down into simplistic terms so that people will have an appetite to attend, even if it's out of curiosity. I think that's the aim.
And I think that's important. The curiosity, something to spark their interest into what's going on. You live in a world, you live in a nation. You should be curious about what is happening around you. I'll just briefly share a couple of the different topics that's going to be there. We have entrepreneurship and digital divides. We have public health, fiscal equity. That's been a big topic lately. We have environmental justice. We have Caribbean family dynamics, AI and the future of education, employment, and research in the Caribbean. So these are all gender justice, as my colleague has mentioned, women's incarceration. So there's a multiplicity of different topics that if you've thought about it, perhaps you can find a session that's going to speak something that you can be like, aha, let me look into that. That's important to me. That relates to me. That's here in my own backyard. I've experienced these things. And so just that curiosity alone, we should have a sold out house for this conference, right? Because it's dealing with people, how they live, where they interact, what the different dynamics, sports, medicine, religion, gender, all of those things. We all experience those things from day to day. It's a part of our lives. And so what better opportunity than to take advantage of this conference to hear more about those who are doing the research in these fields, to broaden your perspective and to open your mind to what new ideas are coming out, ways you can get involved, ways you can get involved with CASA or the conference, or spark you to do your own research, right? This is all the conference is part of the conference is to do just that, to spark that interest, to ignite that flame so that we can do this year's theme, mobilizing, right? Moving it forward, going forward with what we hear, what we see, how we network, what we talk to each other about. Now is the time. Though, as you mentioned, Miss Sabrina, AI is here to stay.
Oh, yeah.
It's changing, and we do not want to get left behind. So we've got to understand and know what is before us to be able to move with it and, in fact, stay in front of it if we can at times.
Yes, sir. And I would add the conference is about real issues that confront us at an individual and societal and collective level. Okay, real issues in education, real issues as it relates to AI, which, as you noted, host, threatens us all. I say threaten us all. it may threaten some of us more than it may threaten certain sectors more than others.
Yes, it's sector based. Yeah.
Yes, but we are dealing with real issues in real time, in a real place called the Cayman Islands.
Yes.
Okay. It's not about abstraction. It's not about highfalutin notions. Although we would use a language that is professional in nature to describe certain things, but we are about dealing with real issues and real problems and trying to offer real solutions, whether the politicians like it or not.
Which is why it's good that we actually encourage persons to come out, because you don't know what influences they may actually have on our powers that be. Hence me earlier on asking what happens post-conference, because for those who may not, for whatever reasons, be able to attend, will this be available like on a podcast setting, the conference? Can people log in remotely, virtually? Is that an option?
I don't know exactly if that is an option. All I can say is when they log in to register for the conference, it will be more specific there what will be and what will not be available. We can always come back and share with you, maybe a highlight or something just to share if the online version would be available at a later date prior to the conference if needs be.
Okay, what I would honestly actually like, because some of the topics that I'm seeing here is for exactly to be broken down, dissected in a conversational perspective so that the public will understand exactly what were the findings. Like you actually say economic development, fiscal policy, sovereignty, and transformation in small island states. People have heard me use these terminologies so much, even like when you're talking about geopolitics and all of that sort of stuff. And then you got this whole migration and identity, intra-Caribbean migration, diaspora, and culture adaptation, We've heard the term diaspora used in the most recent Jamaican elections. It would be good to just dissect all of these topics and bring it into what's to reality, report the findings, make that into conversations as we inform and educate our society here. Because it's one thing understanding the programs. There's another thing making sure that it sticks, because you don't want the conversation to stop after the conference, which is why it's important for me to have continued discussions. We're seeing exactly where technology and education, AI digital transformation in Caribbean education. We understand the pros, we understand the cons. We're hearing more about the national digital ID and the footprint. Maybe if someone really hears about this from the technological and education standpoint, they may or may not be more embracing of where we're going with the digital age. So I can see that the program highlights can actually go into all, as you rightfully said, all aspects of our life. But making sure that we can get persons to attend this conference is the key initiative. And we got to make sure that they're not intimidated. One, because it's in a university setting. For those who've never gone to college or university, that they may feel, oh, that's not for me. I'm not going to get anything from a 3-day conference. I'm too old for this. We want to break that stigma because the conversation may be easily digest.
And most times the researchers do, yes, we're researchers, but we don't speak at this research level all the time, right? We know our audience may not be researchers, so we definitely have to make the conversation or make our research presentation relatable and on a level that everyone is able to understand. And I like your idea about breaking down the findings into conversational bite-sized pieces almost, so people can digest it. I do believe we have plans to be back on the station again at some other time or other platforms as well. But the findings from different researchers, Dr. Livingston, I'm sure, will be able to probably, bring together a collective of those topics and see how we can give a synopsis of all of the topics. Maybe not all of them, but a good majority of them before the conference time approaches.
Yeah. Because one of the things that really caught my attention was gender and social change, along with the AI element, and I'm big into, I was happy somebody used data, the importance of having qualitative data to justify your findings and to provoke change and hopefully for policy. But a lot of the data and findings that we're having is not normally or usually local information to actually invoke policy changes. So when you're talking about gender and social change, feminism, gender relations, and shifting norms across the Caribbean, inclusion comes to mind. It would be interesting to hear that and how that ties into sports development and this whole method of the research methods, how that's actually going to change that industry of sports. With inclusion. Well, two things. I must admit that we do have a problem in communicating our messages, our findings to a wider audience beyond our scholarly circle. I won't deny that. And one of the things that CASA has to do is to make use of social media, make use of that creature called social media as a mechanism for public education and on, as you rightly said, on an ongoing basis concerning, the research we do and the findings of that research and the significance of it for them at an individual level. So that is a challenge we face in academia really, and it's something that CASA is committed to trying to deal with, because you can only educate if people understand and if you share that knowledge. So it's an ongoing challenge we have, and it's something we have to, address, and deal with. Yeah, I agree with you. And just for information, breaking down some of the highlights of this program over this 3 days, the public registration details are on their website. It's $50. It includes lunch for all 3 days. And how are you reaching out to the youth? That's through the schools?
Yes, more than likely, our marketing team and Dr. Livingston and his team have reached out to the high schools and other tertiary education students on island to be able to invite them over to the conference as well.
Mhm. But we want to get some adults who are just, as I said, curious in some of the topics. And even though it is for students as well, we don't want adults out there who probably are not in a tertiary setting, not going to college or university, that we want to actually invite them as well. And I'm hoping that the message actually from this podcast will say that all persons are invited, correct?
Yes, they are. All persons are invited, no matter your age. Your lifelong learning happens, right? You know, you can't think, don't think you're too old or you're not in higher ed at this moment to learn anything or to be a part of this. It's all about lifelong learning and putting yourself in an environment that's going to enrich you, that's going to challenge you, and also provoke you to think beyond just where you are and to
Right.
broaden your horizon. So yes, this conference is open to everyone on the island, regardless of age. We would love to see you there. So please, please, please make an effort to join us in September 24th to the 26th.
All right. Now, the specialized sessions, you said it's culture, food, and religion. Your part is religion. Who's dealing with the culture and food?
We
You
have, listen,
I guess there's a reason why the camera is on you.
lunch will be catered.
Okay.
Lunch will be catered. So there may be some surprises. I don't know all the specifics behind that culturally, but you're in for a good experience. I can say that you're in for a good experience at this conference. CASA has gone, Dr. Liv and his team has gone out of their way to make sure that you leave with a wonderful experience. So it's going to be enjoyable. So I challenge everybody to don't let somebody else take your seat, right?
You're
Come out
right.
and join us for this conference. And, you know, again, I can't stress the importance of just understanding more about sociology, how you live, where you live, how you interact with each other, and the different dynamics in your life. It's important to understand that. And so this is a great opportunity right in your backyard to be able to do such things.
Yeah. And I see this Dr. Alyssa Trotz, professor. Yeah. Dr. Trotz, professor of Caribbean Studies. That's New College, University of Toronto. That's the person that's coming in from Canada.
Yes.
And what they'll be speaking on is transnational migration, remittances, and diaspora engagement. You see, now that is something that we are actually here. It's real and it's here. And to have international speakers coming in to talk on this stuff, I think these are some of the topics for true that we need to really discuss post-conference, but do it in chunk size pieces so that persons can understand exactly that when you see all of these remittances, you've heard it in our local news and we're seeing the stats and all that sort of stuff. It's not just here. This is happening all over the world. And when you have persons from other countries that are other Caribbean countries that are going to other countries to make a better life, remittances is a key. That can impact legislation. That can impact a country's their money continuing to spend into their own economy because you're sending it back home to yours because that's your first priority. We don't know what sacrifices these persons are actually making. How can that impact a local economy? So it's quite interesting to see that Dr. Trotz is going to be speaking on transnational migration and what that really means, because I think that's more here than people even think about.
Yeah, it is. And we tend to think that things only happen here in the Cayman Islands sometimes, that we're the only ones affected, but it's global. It's global across the Caribbean, across the world. It's not just us. And so I'm looking forward to hearing her keynote presentation on that night. And again, that keynote night in itself is a free session. So again, anybody can come out and hear that keynote presentation. But and it's going to be a wonderful time. So I look forward to that. And again, I invite everyone to make an effort to be out there and join us.
It seems like a lot to pack in a couple of days, but for those persons who may not be able to attend all 3 days, they have the choice. Just the key is is to register, correct?
Yes, to register. And again, we understand people are working. People may not be able to attend all 3 days. Once you go on the registration site and see the sessions, once you register, you can pick which ones you want to attend, which ones you want to make sure you're there for. I say be there for all of it.
Right.
But, if you absolutely can't, you can definitely, pick different sessions you want to attend to and spend some of the day with us. Again, we'll be more than happy to welcome you and to have you join us.
Well, this is an opportunity. I think we've beaten this up on this first presentation right now as much as we can without just going over and over. But this is an opportunity for either of you to leave us with any closing messages as your last pull or effort in order to tell people about this upcoming event. By all means, the floor is yours.
Okay, if I may, to repeat what was said earlier, the Caribbean Sociological Association, CASA, was formed with some particular objectives or goals, which was to show the relevance of sociology to the development of the Caribbean, the relevance of sociology to defining and understanding some of our daily problems in whatever sector we are dealing with, to help serve as mentors to our youths in Caribbean society and help them identify and define particular career paths. One of the other important, you could call it political functions, was for us to see the Caribbean, in spite of its fragments and fractures, as a diversified and as a holistic entity that has common challenges, economic challenges, political challenges. So this is the broader aims and goals of CASA as an organization operating within the context of the Caribbean and Caribbean diaspora. And this conference is an expression of that. It's a joy to see it being hosted in the Cayman Islands, because it reflects that commitment to the broad Caribbean and not just a narrow set of Anglo-speaking, English-speaking Caribbean countries. So I wish to thank again Professor Smith and his lovely team at University College, the Cayman Islands, for agreeing to organize this conference. And I look forward to visiting the Cayman Islands for the first time. Sabrina, for the first time.
Oh, really?
I can't wait.
You've never been here before?
I can't wait, to see this jewel up close and personal.
Right. And where are you from? Where are you from? Where are you coming from?
I'm coming from Trinidad.
Oh.
But my parents originally are from St. Vincent. But I was born and grew up in Trinidad.
Well, I tell you what, when you drink our water, you're not going back.
That's it. Yeah. I won't go into specifics, but that is so true. That is so true.
Well, I can't wait to test the empirical evidence.
Exactly. You will actually say, Sabrina was true. I don't want to go back.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Well, it's a pleasure. And I'm hoping that once you come here, that the warmth of our shores, the love of our people, which is something that we have unique with our Caribbean brothers and sisters. And that is why when this podcast came about, to be honest, when this podcast came about, the tagline was strategic. Voices of the Islands, Conversations for the World. And people may have actually heard you speak and thinking that you're here. The mere fact that you're coming from a different Caribbean jurisdiction, we're not a CARICOM member, we are associate members, but look at the culture, look at how we are interconnected. And this conference is bringing us together, just like how Carafesta took place in Barbados the other day. It's just amazing. But I'm looking for your feedback, Doc, and it'll be interesting. And you, Dr. Robinson, you make sure you give him our water, okay?
Listen, I sure will. I will. I look forward to having him.
And thank you, Sabrina, for this opportunity.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
To share CASA with the Cayman Islands and the Caribbean.
It is a pleasure. Looking forward to seeing you. I'll probably be there for the opening night, and I'll come over and tap you.
So hope to meet you. Yes, we can continue our discussions.
Of course, of course. And I think I dropped an idea there for dissecting these topics post the conference.
Absolutely.
I think it's something that you all should look, and as we continue to actually inform and educate our people, because there's no sense of it being lost on the campus. We need to spread this and these findings. It can't just go on a dusty shelf waiting for members of parliament to bring them through when sometimes they don't even understand it themselves. So if we can have discussions of this nature in spaces like this that is friendly, you're doing it from the comforts of your home, maybe your boat, your backyard, why not? We're taking, it's like public health. We're bringing it to you. You feel you can't qualify to get into tertiary studies, but we can teach you the findings. And the more we educate our people, the better of a society we have, Doc. And I feel I'm going to give you that as a challenge.
We accept the challenge.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good to see you soon.
I want to say in closing, everyone listening, I challenge you again to register, to embrace yourself in this experience that is here in your backyard, to learn to be a part of something that's going to help your development, help your lifestyle, help your, community, your nation. And so I want you to just come out and show your support, come out for your own learning. If nothing else, come out so you can be engaged with us. We look forward to interacting with you. We'll be there for the entire conference. So like Miss Sabrina says, tap us on the shoulder and say, hey, this and that. We'll be more than willing to have a conversation to go in more depth with you. But again, it's important that we take a part, that we really understand who we are as a people, where we're going as a people, and how we can get there.
Yeah. So that's Wednesday night is the key. That's the opening night. That's September 24th. And that is free to the public. And for those persons who wanting to attend all of the events, for 50 Cayman dollars, this includes lunch, and this is for all 3 days. And again, appealing to all the students, your admission is free. For senior high school and tertiary, so that's your college, university students, you guys are free. So there's no reason why. And, there'll be a conference reception as well. There'll be lots of networking opportunities. And an optional Cayman tour for visiting delegates. So they could get double the water.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, so I wish you all success. I think maybe closer down, you're going to come back to tell us how the preparations have been going and what the registration has looked like. And, we encourage you to go onto the UCCI website and register for more information as well.
Yes. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Greatly
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much.
You. It is a pleasure. Have a good
And
evening.
see you soon.
Yes, I will. Safe travel.
Okay. Yeah,
Take care.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye. There we have it. Let me pull myself back in here. Oh, what did I do? Yeah, there we go. Oof. Yeah, there we have it. So what do you think about that? I mean, looking at these topics, Sabrina Speaks family, I think this is going to be huge. I think it's a lot in this first segment or this first appearance about this conference for us to even wrap our heads around. But when you look at the topics that is going to, and it's a lot of information, which is why I have to do this, and beat me up, but it's this important: gender and social change, feminism, gender relations, and shifting norms across the Caribbean. If you want to know what that means, you got to attend. And then you got the digital innovation, closing digital divides. For all of you who think you're too old and it's not for you, you're just going to leave it for your children or your grandchildren. This could actually impact your promotion at work. It could actually impact your inability to get a job because of exactly where we're going in the digital space. Empowering entrepreneurs with technology. One of the podcasts that I brought up here was actually, how are we preparing our next generation? This conference will actually give you findings in all of this. And I think that it is huge that we actually just look at this. We need to take it to a different level. We need to invest in ourselves by showing up, and do not underestimate what you would be able to retain from this. I don't want, and I think one of the biggest takeaways for the conversation, which is why I deliberately went there, one of the biggest takeaway from this, do not be intimidated because you're going on a college university campus. Do not be intimidated by that. Go and try to get as much information on these topics that'll be had. And then the migration and identity, that's your intra-Caribbean migration, and the diaspora and the cultural adaptation. How much people do we have here from all over? The Cayman Islands is a melting pot for everybody, right? We say it. How are we even able to preserve our own heritage and our own culture when we are here? Cultural adaptation. Many a times okay, for example, I have a hairstylist, right? She's from Jamaica, love her to death. And sometimes that blow dry when that hit my ear or that curling iron hit my forehead. And I'm like, ouch. And she say, hush. The first time I heard that, I wanted to give her a left hook. Again, cultural adaptation in a different sense, but it's their culture. It's their culture. It didn't mean she was telling me to shut up because she hurt me. It was her way of saying, I'm sorry, or oh, baby. It's actual pitch and tone. It's amazing the different culture and how we communicate with one another actually can make or break how we live in our very own society. And then we look at economic. That's just, I'm not a professor. Oh God, I'm not even trying to. I'm just having real conversation here. But these are some of the huge takeaways that I'm saying you can actually apply, go, and you will hear more about it, or provide more context, more clarity for, let's say you're in a workplace and it's predominantly people from, let's say, the Philippines, and you don't understand their culture. You may think they're rude. Or let's say Jamaica, you don't understand their culture. Maybe something like this, attending a conference like this, can help you more understand just by attending this specific presentation. And then you got the economic development side, where it comes to that. This may be appealing to all of those in the accounting industry, aspiring accountants, that sort of stuff, because it talks about fiscal policy, right? And then transforming into small island states. What does that mean for us, where you're looking at national budgets and all that sort of stuff? A lot of those lawmakers, persons who are into, we're right now just doing a whole budget and all of that sort of stuff. Economic development. Who are we developing for? A sustainable budget or survival budget. When you hear your powers that be, who'd be going to Parliament in November to debate something that's really topical here, all of these things play into it. And this is able for you to break it down and to get a clearer understanding, hopefully, based on the findings that these professionals are actually going to be presenting. And the good thing about it, you're in a learning environment. So if, let's say, there was something shared and you didn't understand, God bless teachers. During one of the breaks, you go up, or one of the presenters, you go up to them, tap them on the shoulder, and you can ask a question for further clarity. If time permits, maybe they will refer you to different links, or they will take the time based on how in-depth it is to go in detail with you. And, that's what I like about spaces like this, because we all are hungry. We're all learning. And I'm telling you, the world is not stopping to wait on anyone. You have to apply yourself. And this is why the next generation, it is key. Those teachers, those professors are not there to do you a favor. They are there preparing you for the next chapter. And when it comes to education and tertiary education, you never stop learning. Do not make age be a barrier when it comes to educating yourself, because it is amazing when you educate yourself, when you go and you research, when you ask questions. And please, no question is a dumb one. When you ask questions, when you get clarification, that when you engage in conversation, it's just not a rant. You're not getting aggressive because you just don't understand. And many a times, Some people just go off their rails, go off the chain, screaming and just talking. And it's baseless. It's baseless. Why? Because they use that sometimes as a deflection to cover up, I don't know, but they have the need and the urgency to talk, even when it's coming from an informed position. Now, you have these topics that will be presented at this forum that persons have done research, tons and tons of research. And I don't care what anybody say, but they don't like data. That's going to be your lifeline for when you open your mouth. It's coming from an informed perspective that you're just not opening your mouth. Getting real data, analyzing it for the topic is key, because it steers policy development, because it's coming from an informed perspective. You're just not putting a Band-Aid on stuff. When you take the time to collect the information, you do your research, which these professionals speaking on all of these topics here for the next 3 days, they have done that. And they will be presenting their findings. Now, if I could do a little suggestion, it would be good for a lot of our policy advisors working in the civil service to probably try and attend some of this. Because many a times, some of this information that is shared here and a lot of these topics are some of the very same things to guide policy change, legislative change within the very footprint of a sitting administration. And for CASA doing something like this, and congratulations to UCCI for celebrating your 50 years of educating us here in the Cayman Islands. You continue to break barriers. You continue to produce strong leaders holding high positions right here in the Cayman Islands. For you guys to put on something like this, of this level, bringing these type of persons with this skill set and these qualifications to our shores, congratulations to you. But going back to locally, how we can all pretty much benefit from this, especially if you're holding a policy position within all of the ministries, I think it would be a wise idea for you guys to actually make an effort. It's free, for students, but $50, that's not going to break the government. $50 and it includes lunch. Why not? And then look, technology and education, AI and digital transformation in Caribbean education. I can see hopefully a lot of our educators will be there as well. That falls on the Ministry of Education. But again, some of these titles, youth sports culture with the sports side of things in sports development and culture and food, I can see, again, that's under Minister Isaac. And religion, that's broad. Let's hope there'll be representatives from the Ministers Association and all that sort of stuff to see exactly where these specialized sessions and the findings of that will come out. So it's going to be interesting for the opening night. And again, this is the keynote speaker, Dr. Trotz, Alyssa Trotz, professor of Caribbean Studies, New College, University of Toronto. She's coming in and she's going to be talking about the transnational migration remittances, transnational migration, second, remittances, and diaspora engagement, meaning exactly what it says, diaspora engagement. And we need to be able to embrace all of this. And I really feel it's a good opportunity for all of us. So again, 936-8255. We got half hour left on this show. You know, if this didn't go on until 7 o'clock, I'd have been gone, right? Yeah, but you are encouraging me to stay. Hi, Marshall. How are you? Barbara G, how are you doing? From Florida? Oh, I'm honored that you still chose to log on here with us. That's so nice that you actually travel with us. And I saw this Melville Marvin kind of reaching out to you. Well, just for the record, I blocked him. Yeah, so Marshall, hi, good evening. It's a pleasure to have you as usual with us. We got to fill the space. And like I said, on tomorrow's episode of Sabrina Speaks, we put the highlight and we put the spotlight on the gray area. We'll be having Morgan DaCosta and Melissa, his wife Melissa, join us back here to give us a follow-up on how he's doing. And he launched his official NPO on Saturday night, which I was happy to attend. It was good to catch up with friends and to also get feedback from him in person. What a sweet soul. And I honestly wish him the very best, to be honest. As we continue to fight this, there were cancer survivors there, and kudos to the sponsors. I saw Lee Classique was the sponsor, Cayman Airways, and there was somebody else. There were a number of sponsors there. Again, not taking away, but tomorrow we'll delve into that some more. Just before going live, and you can weigh in on this as well, I saw where, and this is breaking news at the time from thanks to CNN. I'd like to get your feedback on this. It looks like scientists continues to make progress with research on how well, we're talking about pig organs here. Scientists continues to make progress with research on how well those organs might perform in humans. And now that they're ready for the next step, a biotech company said, and Food and Drug Administration has given the green light for human trials involving pig kidneys. Yeah, you heard me right. Pig kidneys. So they've gotten the green light from the Food and Drug Administration to proceed with human trials involving pig kidneys. Now, it just came up, and I thought it was quite interesting using pig organs as we continue to give people a second chance at life. If you don't have a donor from a human being, you can't find a match. Would you actually try a pig organ knowing that you're a human being? I'm raised up in a Seventh-day Adventist home. I know we don't use anything with lard or anything with anything from pork. If that was your only choice to sustain your life, would you say yay or nay to a pig kidney? Very interesting. But yeah, so, and there's also an interesting thing where steel is concerned for those of you in the construction industry. The U.S. Steel is shutting down a mill in Illinois this November. However, the workers are still going to be continuing to pay. Now, what would that do to the cost of steel, understanding that we import a lot of stuff here in our islands? So it's very interesting where we're going. And I think that it's key that I share these things with you as we actually navigate this space together. I don't think enough. I told you I would be speaking. I would be having a show on national security. This is by no means trying to scare anyone. I am not at all out here trying to scare anybody. I'm just having the real conversations, and I feel we need to have the real conversations as it regards to highlighting what's happening in our region. And you see what's happening in Venezuela. I brought that about 2 or 3 shows ago, and more than once, I constantly bring up on this space national security, protecting our borders, being aware of what's happening in the Caribbean region. And I dropped the word the other day whether or not it was a false sense of security because we are a British overseas territory jurisdiction. Okay. I have said that more than once, but now you've seen where 4 days ago, 4 or 5 days ago now, that the Chinese are drilling crude in Venezuela. One may say, well, why the heck is Sabrina doing that? Pretty much on around the same time was when it was reported that the U.S. blew up a gang boat of what they call narco-terrorists in the Caribbean. And you heard it right here that I said that was at that time over 5,000 troops from the United States in the Caribbean, and that their military presence, strong military presence, is here. And for what is continuing to go, and you're hearing all of these indirect threats, even though it's not directly related, they're not calling Cayman. I want people to look that proximity does matter. Yes, we fly the UK flag. Yes, we are associate member of CARICOM, but look, guys, look at what's happening around us for sustainability. Look at some of the knee-jerking decisions that are being made from a leader of a country that we depend so largely on, that we visit without any issues. You've seen that I've posted right here on the Sabrina Turner Community Activist Facebook page, a post that was shared by Travel Pros, cautioning persons who actually travel to the United States on ESTA that some of those ESTAs are being cancelled and that you're advised to double check, log back on if you have a pre-approved ESTA to see that it's still valid before your next travel. It appears as though if you didn't scan and upload your digital ID, your photo, that sort of stuff, based on what the process was like when you were issued your last ESTA, if you don't remember, you're encouraged to go online and double check that. There are lots of implications. I've done a lot of research on this, and it's almost as though everything that I can foresee coming, because I'm watching what's happening in the region, is coming to fruition even faster than I can say it. But it's quite interesting, and I feel that we need to have these open conversations. And I'm going to bring it right here. Nothing that I'm saying is not already in the public's domain, but are we aware of what's happening? Good evening, caller. Welcome back. You're live. What's on your mind?
I think no laugh at me, but
What happened?
I saw some time ago where I think it was a pig heart, or it could be the liver that they put in somebody, and they say that it was. But one thing, I understand what you say, because I know most of the Adventist people like that they say they don't eat pork, but I know two die-hard Adventists, they're family to me. And the only thing they don't eat from the pig is the squeal, because you can't catch that when they kill the pig.
Sorry.
And another thing, the Bible says it's not what go into you that defiles you, it's what comes out. So I don't think, and if it were me, and that was the last choice I had to live, if it could be from a mountain, I would accept it.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's going to be interesting.
I know some Adventists do eat conch meat, and they're big conch eaters. They're, like I say, they're big pork eaters, and another is a fat. Like I say, the only thing that, and they says too about that, the only thing a Honduran don't eat from the pig is the squeal, because when they stab him or they lick him with the muzzle or whatever, he say, you can't catch that and hold it. So, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then coming on to this extra thing.
Yeah.
A mess. I was planning on getting that, and my husband, British passport, and we go in, but after I hear that, I tell my daughter, don't mess with that. I say, because if they turn him back, I say, but you have to have this picture and whatever, and I don't have no recent pictures with him. The picture that in his passport look different than what he is now, because he lose so much weight and all that, and that'll be my luck that when we get them, they'll say he got to come back. I tell them they can't turn him back by himself, but he can't travel by himself, and I know they're not turning me back, because I going to do what I want to do. So I tell her, I say, $50 for them 2 old police records, not gonna break us, and he do have a Cayman passport. So let's get them 2 police records, and I can apply for a waiver for him, because he do have Cayman passport too. So we Cayman passport.
Right.
Because I see, Donald Trump doing a lot of foolishness. I saw the other day, now tell my daughter about, I see where they say that, I don't know if it's true, but I saw it on Facebook, said that he's investigating. There's the 5 million people that, and they're on with green cards. And then I saw it come out saying that Caymanian students that are in the on visa that said that, and I say, well, I'm telling all of them now that won't go to the States, but started they better choose Canada or England or something. So I tell her, I say, look like he got to turn 2 on us. And she said, yeah, well, I figured that. She said, because he's a moron, he goes sleep in the night and dream the things and get up and implement them in the morning. So I tell her, I say, and he's saying about he cutting all ties with Jamaica. So I guess he got liquor on us now too. So well, I don't know.
This is why some of the topics that I bring up here, and you would understand the positive feedback. And I want to publicly, again, thank Mr. Woody Foster coming on to let us know about food sustainability. But since then, and here we are now, we're seeing what's happening with steel. We're seeing where even if you're asking for quotes for a simple, I was in a friend's store over the weekend and someone came to pay a deposit on a tankless water heater. And in between the time that they were supposed to come, let's say last week, let's say they were supposed to go there the Wednesday, but they didn't make it until the Saturday. When they came to pay the deposit down, the price had already changed. And this is why some estimates now, people are not given estimates for or quotes for longer than, let's say, 7 days. All of this, yeah, you can't, because we are importing all of this and somebody's going to pass it on. So I was so right. And this is beyond our control, really.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. They put us from from January to fix my house up. They quote me like 5,000 for everything.
Mhm.
But that's from January. And when we get now that, I guess we get the money together that we get to fix it, everything will probably go up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
somebody was charging you for sheet of zinc. Then from January this
Mhm.
year, that by now it'll be probably double.
Oh,
And
wow.
then thing I was telling them to, and then the stuff that you're getting now, no good, because we've been in this house from 1985, and this would be the first thought that's gonna be changed on this.
Mhm.
But I bet we change this one now, what we put on it, probably not gonna last us that long.
Mm. Because
This
we're
house-
seeing the quality is less. What you used to get 10, 15 years ago, yeah, is
When my
less.
daughter says everything is increasing, you're getting less for more, and then no good.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So,
So-
we can't do it. World, we can't change it. So we just gotta go with it. They just say take it or leave it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it goes. And I
Yeah.
keep on that it's easier to die now. It's cheaper to die than to live.
Well, that comes with its own thing because
I'm gonna be cremated, and that's the cheapest thing. So we come from dirt, not going back to dirt. And
actually, I
and I-
heard that price went up. Cremation has gone up now to
When
$29,
my brother died,
$3,000.
we only pay 2,000, but it's probably four now. It's probably double.
I heard just this weekend in a conversation of a senior, and it's now 3,000 that was quoted.
See, that better going up 1,000 because we paid 2,000. That was it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Son, he was cremated. Last year, it was about this year, the 16th would be 4 years since he been dead. So he
Wow.
would have been 5 now, and he was 61 when he died. And 2,000 is all we paid body.
Mhm.
2,000 for the cremation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And a casket, you can get, unless a casket, and a decent casket can cost you that to more. unless it
Exactly.
made it
Exactly.
out
So,
of cardboard. And then the walls, look at what the walls cost, and then to dig them and to get the cement and all that, that could be another
I think that's $1,200.
That's what I say, and all,
Mhm.
and depend on where you get, I guess they might be charging for the spot. And I think they say garden reflection is, I forget how much they say they cost, I tell you. It is cheaper, but I tell them I know I got nothing, so no burial. I can't hardly get enough to live off, and I'm not worrying about when I dead, because like I tell them, if they don't move me, I'll move them. So I'm not worrying. And Carmen show me out Georgetown far out
Wow.
here,
Yep.
but I want to made it. I tell them that.
Mm.
Not
Oh,
big a
really?
do- But all you can say is, yeah, I want to make sure that I did, because I think they bury people alive. I don't know. Not afraid of that. But you can imagine that must be something after they put you down under and you're not dead.
You have
and
a phobia then. Michelle has a phobia.
As somebody said that their mother got washed out in Ivan, right? Actually, they went to see, but they say that she dreamt them that she was alive, that they buried her alive.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yep, and it's a good friend of mine, and they say that their mother dreamt them that, come back to them and say that and this why I say that it's not good to bury people like you say dead today and bury them today, because sometimes people go in coma and they can't tell, because I gave you the story. They thought my grandfather was dead, and when they were going to take him now to call him to the church him, but they had him up in the house in the casket, and he saw that and said, "What the hell am I doing?" And everybody run. Then he'll break down the stairs, get another house. But then he died back like a week later. But apparently he wasn't dead, and they said that he wasn't breathing or nothing. So I keep saying that. Do they really know when you're dead?
Right, right.
And that's another thing that got me thinking. But I bet you if they burn you, you're gonna be sure you're dead, because once they burn you, you go back to ash.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's why I say cremation. Because I suffer phobia. You can imagine if they put me down and then they put all that cement on top of you and you in the casket, and then you come back alive and you fighting now to try and get out. Jesus, I don't want that. That's a terrible thing.
There we go. Well, thank you. Leave us there with that, as usual.
But anyway, that's how I keep.
Yeah.
Each day is one. All right.
All right,
Okay,
my
bye.
love. Thanks. Yes, and again, just to continue, Michelle, oh, I love her to death. Now, you want a content? There you got it. Oh, yeah, we got it right there with Michelle. Another find, I found another interesting article too, as well, that surprising that scientists first find surprising reason why people are eating more sugars. Guess what? they're linking that to climate change. Yes. And I'm going to read it here for you. It says that ice cream, frozen desserts, and super chill sodas take a new appeal on the sticky summer heat. As the climate change drives hotter temperatures, and it was found with the study that Americans are consuming more and more of them, and new research finds that is worrying health consequences. So it's looking as though the more hotter or temperatures become, we are more craving colder beverages, but we're not like going to healthier options. We're actually going for the sweet drinks, the Frosties, the milkshakes, and that sort of stuff. And it states that as temperatures tricked up, people consume more sugar, mostly in the form of sugar-sweetened drinks such as sodas, juices, according to the study published just today in the journal Nature Climate Change. For every 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit of warming, added sugar consumption in U.S. household increased by 0.7 grams per person per day. And the researchers found with a marked escalation as temperatures hit between 68 to 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, you can understand what this is doing from a public health perspective. And it states that this study also predicts that sugar consumptions nationwide could increase by nearly 3 grams a day by 2095. Now, you may think that's far away. It is far away, but still. But what that is tying it into, that if the planet warming population continues unchecked, the vulnerable groups are at risk. And too much sugar, of course, we know, can bring a host of negative impacts. We talked about the non-communicable diseases. When we talk about the non-communicable diseases, we're talking about your cholesterol, we're talking about high blood pressure, we're talking about diabetes. But now if climate is actually impacting that, and listen, all of those persons who are dialysis patients, who are on dialysis, as we continue to get hotter temperatures, remember, they have restrictions on how much fluids they can intake. You can suck all the ice you want, it's still water. It's water, but in a soluble form. And you're going to try to do things that will actually cool you down. But some of the options that I'm seeing personally, people are taking, you're not even relating to it. You're trying to cool yourself down, but you're just not doing it with water or alkaline water with a little piece of lemon wedge just to flavor it. People are tending, based on this finding, they have a tendency to go to more sugary drinks, and including this comes with the negative impacts, as our STEP survey says here, and it has a trajectory for the Cayman Islands, including higher risks of obesity, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. Yeah. And in all of that, you can have issues with blindness because of diabetes. You can have amputation of different limbs, usually in the extremities, which is why foot care is key. And then you're looking at then the American Heart Association recommends limiting added sugars no more than 6% of total calorie people eat each day. No more than 36 grams for men and 26 grams for women. And, public health issues related to sugar consumptions have broadly been discussed, but if considered with interaction with climate change, it will make things even worse because you're not even thinking about it. You're not even thinking climate change could impact, which again, some of the findings in the STEP survey that was published actually goes into this, right? So now you have an outright article talking about climate change, and Science used the word find surprising. They were surprised at this evidence. So what do you think that means? Quality of life is going to change and climate, you can blame it on climate, but it still looks down at the choices that we make when we hydrate ourselves. This article further goes on to say, evidence on how extreme heat changes eating patterns is still relatively scarce, which means they're still collecting data. And a researcher at Cambridge and Social Decision-Making Lab at the University of Cambridge, who was not involved in the research, the study highlights a less discussed channel through which climate change can affect human well-being, she told CNN. So what's particularly worrying about this is that most vulnerable groups, those who have fewer resources to adapt, are both most exposed to warming and most risk for diet-related diseases, what she added. So exactly how climate change will affect humanity's eating habits and the potential consequences on health and inequality still remains unclear. But the mere fact that this has started a conversation, we have findings, which ties in so nicely with our guest from UCCI this evening. These are some of the things that makes that conference so inviting and informative, because that's a simple CNN article that popped up just before I went live. And it caught me by surprise. I thought, I didn't realize I would have actually dissected that here, but that and so much more. And this is why I am not going to stop until I get the good doctor on here so that we can dissect the meaning of the STEP survey and those findings. Because if it's now confirmed that there is some linkage to our sugar consumption based on climate change, what other habits are we actually doing that we're not even realizing that's related to climate change? It's a very interesting world that we're in, but the information is out there. And I promise you, on this space, I'm about educating and informing. And as I get it, I'm going to share it with you. There was another topic as well too that spoke about artificial sweeteners aged the brain by over 1.5 years. That was another study that came up. And, people who consume the highest levels of certain artificial sweeteners, equivalent to just one diet soda a day, saw a significant decline in their ability to remember and recall words when compared to people who consume the lowest level, a new study also found. So again, these are all things that we're saying, oh my God, we're making healthier choices. I'm not drinking a regular Coke anymore. I'm going to drink a Diet Coke. I'm not going to use white sugar. I'm going to go to a healthier option. I'm going to use honey. I'm going to use brown sugar. This space, we're going to talk about it. And but a lot of the findings, and I'm totally big on data, I'm totally big on making sure we research and we can bring you informed decisions, but these are things that are out there. And are we making the right decisions when we're thinking we're making even the right decisions? This ever-changing world that we are in is just amazing. Non-nutritive sweeteners are often used in low sugar, ultra-processed foods and special products created for people with diabetes, according to a study. And in Neurological and Medical Journal of the American Academy of Neurology, the widespread consumption of these sweeteners represent a safe sugar substitute may actually be misguided. Can you imagine? What you thought was safe is now we're being misguided, especially given with their high-end products marked as healthier alternatives, which packaging matters. So there's so much out here in the world, from our health to we're seeing where climate is now impacting our decisions of what we consume, to our borders, our porous borders, to keeping us aware of what's happening amongst us, around us. And if you're thinking that you're only seeing it on CNN or on the BBC or Al Jazeera, really, there's a lot going on right here on our doorstep, less than 45 minutes away. And we're going to bring it up here. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank you all for sticking with me. And it has been a pleasure bringing you another episode of Sabrina Speaks. I hope that you got a good insight on the conference at the University College that is going to take place for 3 days. That's from September 24th to 26th, and go out and celebrate their 50th anniversary as well with this. That's huge. And I went through the topics. You can scroll back and you can see exactly what we spoke about today. And to our incredible guests, I want to thank them. And to the people over there in Trinidad, we're going to have one of yours coming to the Cayman Islands. And once he drinks that water, he's not going to come back. But I want to thank our guests from this diaspora. That's a new line that we're hearing. And for those of you who know what that is, used in the right context, I guess lockdown brings back some memories, huh? Just for funs and giggles. But yes, to our two incredible guests today, I want to thank you for your insights. I want to thank you for sharing your passion and for your commitment here to the Caribbean progress and I hope that it has lit a fire to all of us. And what is Jimbo saying? Hi, Jimbo, you've been quiet today. How are you? You miss Connie? Connie, know where about you? Connie's on high seas. Me and you should be there with her. Evening, even so-called healthier foods is not so healthy. You're right, which is what that finding said. But maybe again, that could be a discussion that we can have here, Jimbo. No topic is off the table for me. I'm being very honest with you. I just got to make sure that I go and I research it and come back so that I can have sound. And I'm going to make sure that when I share the information, it's coming from an informed perspective. But you're quite right. This farm to table is probably the best thing. And it pretty much is what you grow in your own yard because there's a level of some things to keep pests away. We're hoping that it's safe and you can only trust a label. So it's going to be interesting. But yeah, so an appeal to all the students and adults, whether or not you're a student, students are invited. And for students and people who are in college or university, you're totally free. And to the public, it's just $50. But Wednesday night, the keynote night, the opening night is totally free. It's totally free. The public is invited and no barriers there. So no excuses. And I'm just hoping that, this will attract a huge crowd. And again, I'm hoping that they will come back on at least one more time before the event so we can know how the registration is going. So I'm inviting people to go down there, listen, ask your questions, and, to be a part of it as we continue to build a more resilient and united Caribbean. Because I don't care whether or not you CARICOM this or you CARICOM that or nothing, we still all won at the end of the day. Because anything goes down, shipping lanes are affected, airspace is affected, we all be impacted. Proximity matters. Yeah, Jimbo, that's why you're farmers. That's why we're farmers here on island. Grow what you know, eat healthier, live healthier. You're quite right. Yes, Jim, thank you so much for always participating. And because you showed up, speak out and learn to, and change happens. That's what I want people to encourage. Continue to participate, continue to engage with me. Should there be topic suggestions that you would want me to explore, to engage in on this space? I know it's been lurking out there that people is asking for a possible show on digital ID. That's going to be interesting. I'm not against having the conversation, but I would love to get all sides to participate in that conversation. It's not going to be a case where it's just a host. I want to hear the pros and the cons. We can at least accommodate three or four persons virtually. And it would be good to just to hear all sides and let's see where it's going. We see where Jamaica is most advanced in a digital ID. We're seeing where Barbados has been trying to roll it out from 2024. Their people have also had some form of pushbacks, same concerns as we've heard here about fearful of information, privacy, and all that sort of stuff. So this is the space. Let's air it. I can come in this space. I respect this role. I can come from a very objective perspective and have the data for the pros and the cons, but it would be good to hear your feedback. But I'm hearing you. You can't say I'm not hearing you. But I'm not going to have the conversation just alone. I want to hear both sides and I feel that's only fair. So if you're talking about it out there, just not have one side. Let's have you all here on this safe space and we can agree to disagree and hope we will learn from it as we continue to grow and educate each other. But yes, I want to thank you all for being here with me. And like I said, tomorrow we're going to put the spotlight and showcase a gray area. We're going to have our dear friend, Oscar DaCosta and Melissa, maybe one or two of the board members. And I got pictures. From the event as well that I'm going to share with you. So until next time, I'm your host, Sabrina. It has been a pleasure. And I'm going to ask you, please don't underestimate the power of your voice. And that is why for this space, we are voices of the island's conversations for the world. And I want you to stay curious, stay engaged, and I'll see you at CASA 25. And I'll definitely see you tomorrow with Oscar and Melissa. Have a good evening.
That's a wrap for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks. Thank you for tuning in and for being part of the conversation. Remember, the dialogue doesn't stop here. Stay engaged, stay informed, and most importantly, stay empowered. We'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m., same time, same place, right here on CMR TV and radio, where your voice matters and your truth is heard. Until then, Cayman, take care of yourself and each other.
That's it for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks, where your voice matters, your story counts, and your truth is always welcome. Join us weekdays from 5 until 6:30 p.m. right here on CMR TV as we dive into the topics that matter most to you. Catch the show live or on demand at cmrtv.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram so you never miss a moment. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and always speak your truth.